not in Kansas anymore.
You have my curiosity.
Are you telling me you built a time machine?
The Force will be with you. Assemble.
Hello and welcome back to the Get Real podcast, the podcast where we get real about all our favourite pop culture films and TV shows. I'm Chris, and with me is my Academy Award nominated co-host, Sam.
And what have I been nominated for?
Co-host of the Year award.
Oh, man.
Your prize is
A second can of Iron Brew.
your own Apple Watch, which is right next to me.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So this week we're talking all about Jojo Rabbit and the Golden Globe Awards 2020. We've got a couple of bits of news to talk about, but just consider that we record this about a week in advance.
Yep.
So obviously right now the Golden Globes happened last week.
Yep.
So if you have missed anything, this is a perfect time to have a little recap on it. And Jojo Rabbit has only just launched in the UK, right?
Yeah.
So we are aware that it's been out for a bit in the US, but we've only just had the chance to really watch it last week. So we got a couple of little bits of news and stuff to touch on.
We do indeed.
So do you want to get us started, Chris?
I will. Okay, first bit of news we want to talk about is one of our favourite films over sort of like the holiday break, Knives Out. We went to see that together.
Yep.
So Knives Out has done incredibly well with such a small budget and such an original story. It's not based off anything, unlike most things in Hollywood nowadays. Rian Johnson did a great job, and he has announced he's in works on the script for the sequel, focusing more around Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc,
Who absolutely led the film. He was awesome. I really liked it. It was
Yeah,
so
so
different because we see Daniel Craig so much as like James Bond and this really tough guy when he's actually this southern, you have my curiosity.
Yeah, like that
Piano.
the thick southern drawl.
Yeah.
It was like, I did laugh the first time I heard him speaking because it was so binary opposite to anything else that he plays. He's always seems to be British and near enough everything except for Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. But we
Yeah.
don't talk about that remake.
No. And all the comedy hits that he has, and just because I don't think you expect it from his character because it's him. Well, you
Way
do
he's
when you start
introduced.
watching it, but yeah, he's introduced so funny.
Excuse me, madame.
So yeah, Knives Out sequel.
Yeah.
There is a new Mutants trailer.
A new Mutants.
A new, but it's the old New Mutants trailer.
It's the old New Mutants. It's the new old Mutants.
They did the reshoots. They don't like the reshoots. Nobody liked the reshoots, apparently, so they've gone back to the original.
Yeah, this is Josh Boone's original cut of the film, essentially, without the references to the wider X-Men films. So-
I literally just watched the trailer before we started recording this, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's
I don't think it looks as scary as the first trailer, but that might have been because I was expecting it a bit more.
Yeah, it's definitely still got those horror hits, though.
Yeah.
Like that first bit where the faces are in the wall. Like,
Yeah.
I won't lie, I jumped a little bit in my chair watching it.
I'm wondering...
I didn't want you to see it, though, because I didn't want to be embarrassed. But
I'm wondering, is that practical? Sort of like, is clearly a reference to
cloth.
Nightmare on Elm
Yeah.
Street. Yeah, and they did that behind latex, whether it's that or whether it's CGI.
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. After that, an article has come out from the Celluloid Ceiling. It's a press article about women in Hollywood. So they've done a report, and luckily this year it has grown from women making up the top 21% of behind the scenes roles in the top 250 films of the year. So that includes roles such as directors, writers, producers, executive producers, editors, and cinematographers. So that is up, sadly, only 1% from last year, but it's a step in the right direction. We are seeing more prolific female members in behind the scenes, which is raising every year.
Really interesting fact, before we get onto the Golden Globes, one of the winners for the Golden Globes was the Joker composer, who was Hilda, I'm going to butcher this, Guanadote, Hilda Guanadote, I think that's right.
Okay.
The first woman in 10 years to have won an award for original score.
I believe so.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
To touch on that.
We have had a female, I believe, win the Oscar for Best Original Score before.
But the Golden Globe
but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But like this has led the way with like Olivia Wilde directing Booksmart this year, Greta Gerwig doing Little Women, stuff like that. Like there were so many this year. Sadly, they're not quite seeing the acclaim in the awards so far. But
But
it's
more,
a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's more equal.
I mean,
to say, I suppose.
Two guys probably aren't the best people to be discussing this subject, but it is something that I know I'm passionate about, making sure that it's known what women are doing in cinema, because they are pivotal points. Like, even Martin Scorsese, all them lot have all worked with like female editors in the past and stuff. It's nice to see that everyone's getting recognition now.
Yeah, and I think although it touches on some of the negative tropes of the industry, that a film like Bombshell's coming out, that's gonna highlight some of that in a film.
Female writer and directors,
I think so. And then we have Little Women out.
Yeah, Greta Gerwig's Little Women,
who one of our friends really wants to do an episode with us on that.
So maybe we can get out and see it soon.
Yeah, we really need to see it.
We could possibly do Little Women and Bombshell together.
We could do,
get
actually.
a female guest in.
Yeah, that might be interesting.
Nice.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
At GetRealPod on Twitter. Quick plug.
Nice plug.
And then the last little bit of news is kind of more so a rumour than what it is news. There is a strong rumour right now in terms of Star Wars that the next saga of films is going to be set in the New Republic era.
So that's pretty much the old...
It's 400 years before the Skywalker saga, which is what we see in all the current
The
films.
Old Republic.
Well, it's
known as the New Republic.
It's the Old Republic, but it's newer than the Older Republic, so it's like... It's after... So
the Old Republic
The Old
games.
Republic happens, so in the Old Republic, that happens, it finishes,
Yeah.
right? That after that is the New Republic.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware. So whether or not, depending on what is canon, because Revan is now canon, who is a big part of the Old Republic series, maybe it carries on from him, but everything that's happened in the past has already happened. Maybe they do a New Republic trilogy, and then they do an Old Republic trilogy, and copy what happened with the Skywalker saga.
Possibly.
I mean, I'm not going to complain. Anything
old or new or old.
Anything Old Republic, I am absolutely down for.
Because I don't know if you remember my pitch from like way back when, but I pitched that the next trilogy was called the Lightsaber Chronicles or something like that, the Lightsaber Saga, and it goes through like you have 3 films about all the stages leading up to the creation of the lightsabers as we know it today. So we see like the beginning of like the Sith Jedi Wars back in the day, where they first create like the one before the Proto Saber.
Yeah, you're talking.
And then
like
you
ancient...
have the Proto Sabers, and then you have the Old Republic where they where the Sith actually create the lightsaber as we know it today with the energy source inbuilt power of the kyber crystal.
And I don't know whether you remember, but with a very old channel on YouTube that shall remain unnamed, a certain co-host did a full playthrough of the Old
Was
Republic
it the full
game.
playthrough?
It wasn't a full playthrough. The channel died before that.
We got like 2 episodes in.
But
it was better than a certain other co-host playthrough of Bastion.
But it wasn't the Old Republic, the questionably worse MMORPG. It was the Knights of the Old Republic, wasn't it?
I mean, the Old Republic was great for an MMORPG. It just didn't quite have the same level as Knights of the Old Republic, in our opinion.
Yeah, that has its own place in gaming royalty, though, that game.
KOTOR.
So
right.
that's it in terms of news, right?
I believe so.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about Jojo Rabbit. So, as always with our episodes, we do a bit of a bad job about talking about this before we start talking about the film. We obviously do non-spoilers for a little bit, just in case someone's going to listen to this and think, oh no, I don't want to know anything about the film. For the first part where we talk about it, we try to avoid any kind of main plot spoilers. Obviously, if you want to go in completely dark, I mean, this isn't Star Wars, it isn't a Marvel film. There's not really that. It's not spoilery.
No, there's only like 1 or 2 moments that I wouldn't want to know going in.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to know how the whole thing goes.
No.
But we will try to avoid spoilery parts, and then we will give a little bit of a heads up before we start talking about spoilers. And if you want to go in completely dark story-wise and stuff. So,
and then we will leave a timestamp in the description as well as to when we're moving on to the Golden Globes.
Yes.
We'll cover that after Jojo Rabbit.
Yes, everything will be timestamped in the description from where we talk about spoilers to if you want to skip ahead and listen to Golden Globes stuff.
Yes,
and
indeed.
You're not interested in Jojo Rabbit, but why wouldn't you be interested in this film? Because it's really good.
It is incredible.
So, Chris, sum up Jojo Rabbit as a plot in just a few words for listeners who have not heard of this film before.
Okay. Nazi boy. He's a fanatic member
Youth.
of the Hitler Youth.
Well, he goes on a trip.
Well,
doesn't he?
I'm just going to summarize super quick.
Okay. Look,
Fanatic.
man, I'll let you do your thing.
Yep.
I'm just going to shut up for a second.
Okay, this is like the elevator pitch.
I'm going to.
This was Taika Waititi in the elevator trying to speak to Fox Searchlight, trying to get this greenlit.
Maybe this is how we say it from now on. What's your elevator pitch for the movie?
Elevator pitch.
Okay,
Quick. Okay. Fanatic member of the Hitler Youth. He's obsessed with Hitler and the Nazi regime. His dad's gone off to fight in the war. He thinks that he's going to be the best Nazi to ever live. So, in his own head, he's that fanatical. Adolf Hitler is his best friend.
Played by Taika Waititi.
He then finds out that his family are housing a Jew, and that calls into question his entire mindset about the Nazi regime.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah.
His mum played by Scarlett Johansson.
Great year for Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, defo. And then you've got people like Sam Rockwell in there, Rebel Wilson, Alfie Allen, actors from, lots of... Stephen Merchant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good cast. Very good cast. What do you think of the film?
I thought it was great. Played around the subject matter very well. It didn't make light of the situation. The only thing it did make light of, if you know anything about the film going in, it's somewhat of a comedy. And obviously comedies and the Holocaust and Nazis and stuff like that, you don't really want to tread on. It's a delicate turf to sort of go towards. But they deal with it very well. The only jokes are really pointed at the stupidity of Nazism and Nazi propaganda and poking fun at how people can't seem to see how wrong that is.
Yeah, it's more like it's funny about how ignorant the characters
Exactly.
are, rather than it's funny because it's offensive kind of thing. It's very much towards their ignorance.
Even some of the characters who are Nazis, like, you definitely see them starting to realise that they are on the wrong side of history, and they even call into question how idiotic the Nazi regime are.
Yeah, it's funny. You have
I think that's where the humour comes from.
Yeah, and I think when you have shots of where Jojo is drawing photos, drawing pictures of what he thinks Jews should look like.
Yeah,
in his vision, it's quite funny that he draws these really childish, cartoony photos of something being shot out of a cannon. It's got horns and tail. What I mean? It's just so out there.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what lets the humour kind of sit where it does. I think it was a really it's a risky film.
Yeah.
Definitely a risky film with how on the nose some of the tropes are and some of the things that they say about in the Nazis' view of Jewish people.
Yeah.
But it's done very tastefully. I wouldn't say it's done over the top.
No, I think that's what they managed to nail right, was the balance. They established you're following this protagonist, let's call him, and he is one mindset, and he is Jews are bad, and you're following him. Typically you're meant to align yourself with the protagonist, but you are binary opposite to everything that he's saying out loud. Yeah. And it's sort of waiting for the protagonist to come in line with your point of view almost.
And I think what helps that is that it's a kid.
Yeah.
It's it's this kid who's just completely disillusioned by everything that's going on in the Reich. He's going on this really cool summer camp thing at the beginning, isn't it? And it's he's gonna have a great time, and Adolf is saying to him, his imaginary friend is go have a great time, and then the Heil Hitler and each other in the room at the beginning.
He's no, you're not doing it right. Just just throw it away. Just like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Just hey man, what up?
And I think because it's a little kid and stuff that you're watching, I think it helps it not.
It definitely disarms it.
Yeah, it definitely disarms it. Is a perfect way of saying it.
Speaking of that, Roman Griffin Davis is the kid who plays the main role. He was fantastic in it. He carried the whole film on his shoulders. Everybody else was great in this film, but he was in, I think, 99% of the scenes, and he worked. You almost lost him in the role, and for a child to be able to do that was incredible. I think as well because he's not a known face, he's not a known child actor, because this is his first role. You were able to just sort of lose him in the role almost.
Yeah, he was absolutely amazing.
He got nominated for a Golden Globe, sadly did not win.
So he started auditioning at the age of 9. And then Jojo Rabbit is his first professional acting role, thanks to IMDb.
Yeah.
So this is the first thing he's done professionally. and he really knocked it out.
And he got nominated for a Golden Globe.
Yeah. Absolutely
that's
amazing.
Incredible.
Really, really good. I think his character was just really nice, really, just, don't know, it was kind of one of those, like, a lot of the times where he is he's unleashing his inner Nazi, and he's questionable.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because of how young and harmless he seems.
Well, I think that's what the joke is, the fact that he has been brainwashed so badly. Like, the joke was what Nazis were stupid enough to try and make children believe.
Yeah.
That Jews had horns and they could read people's minds and stuff like that.
And then you have parts of the film where he's just a kid.
Yeah.
We can't tie his own shoelaces, can he? And it's like, it's cute. At times it's really cute.
That's just like something to remind you, like, this is a child at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's playing a 10-year-old, is he, in the film?
Yeah, well, yeah.
But I believe he was 10 years old. Like, you almost forgot that he was a child at some points because they were dealing with such adult subject matter and stuff like that. But then, like you said, he can't tie his own shoelaces.
Yeah.
And that really built the relationship between him and his mother as well.
Yeah, and there was a lot of feel-good parts where he was just, like, obviously, the whole bit where the bit at the beginning, before the first twist that we get,
Okay.
the slow-mo bit
Yeah.
in the forest, that's such a feel-good moment because it was like a bit of uplift for him. It's a moment where he's like, yeah, I'm going to go do it, and then you've got his imaginary friend.
Yeah, it was so strange having Adolf Hitler played by Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Like, giving this motivational speech that you actually sort of rallied behind. You're like, yeah, go ahead, Jojo, you can do whatever you want. And then you're like, oh, wait, no, that's Hitler saying it.
And it's cool because parts of it feel quite modern, like with, like, he's doing, like, this weird pointy kind of, yeah, you're doing it kind of thing in slow-mo behind him. And yeah, there's parts that feel really good. There's parts where, there's parts where you feel a little bit heartbroken throughout the story. It's just,
I think those heartbreaking moments land so well because the uplifting bits land well.
And it's just a bit of everything throughout the whole film. And I think that's what makes this really good.
Speaking about the young actors as well, Archie Yates, who plays Yorkie, sorry.
Oh,
his best mate.
Yeah.
I think he was so good in it, and he did not get enough screen time. Every time he was on screen, he was the cutest kid. I've seen him in interviews today, like IMDb and Entertainment Weekly and stuff like that. He was adorable.
And again, Jojo Rabbit is his first thing as well.
Yeah.
He is also going to be in the Untitled Home Alone reboot.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So, touching on Taika Waititi as Adolf, parts are really weird in this film.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's totally Taika Waititi. And there's parts where it's like, he's joking and he's obviously this playful character, and that shows in the trailers. And there's parts where he goes full Hitler, and it's really, really weird.
Yeah, they put sort of like that music that you would associate with like Nazi propaganda type thing, like, and they swell that up behind him while he's giving this like really, and he's got the hand movements and everything. Like, you could tell like they were the only moments, like, I think there was 2 moments like that where like he felt like Hitler. The rest of the time he was just a caricature, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And I think that, like,
he was an imaginary friend half the time, and then there was times where he'd be talking to Jojo and it would be like he's playing Hitler and not playing an imaginary friend.
Yeah, he wasn't playing a caricature, he was trying to play Hitler.
Yeah. And weird, this is such a weird thing to say, but he does it really well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm well into, like, I used to be well into World War II, and just really like researched into it a lot.
I mean, it's still modern history.
Yeah.
And like it's something that we grew up being taught in school and stuff.
And there's parts where it's like you've plucked him straight out of a black and white film from a speech.
Yeah.
But you'll know these bits when you watch it.
And I think he wasn't overdone.
Mm.
Like, the bits with Hitler being imaginary wasn't overdone. Like, there's large stretches of the film where he's not in it.
Yeah.
And I think that doesn't kill the joke then.
Mm.
Like, it really sells it. Like, we left and I was like, I never want to say this again. This on the podcast was the last time I ever saying just the right amount of Hitler.
Just the right amount.
Just the right amount of Hitler.
I just want to... any amount is a bad amount.
Yeah. But if you're going to have Hitler, this was just the right amount of Hitler.
This is the podcast that pulls us under, Chris.
Yep.
This
and that is never
episode.
being said again. Taken in context, it's fine to say. Taken out of context,
Terrible.
we're screwed.
We're screwed. This is it. So something that really surprised me about this film is a lot of the cinematography parts. So when we're talking in, say, the final act of the film, there's a lot of slow-mo parts. It's really, really like shot really well as well for what a comedy is. You know, I can't talk into it until we get into like spoilers really, but there's a bit towards the end where the music just lands really well, the scenery, you know, like even like soldiers and stuff that we see, and you know, like semi-action sequences are all really tasteful. Nothing is over the top.
So Taika gave credit, like in interviews, to his cinematographer, which I'm gonna butcher a name now, is Mahai Malamar Jr., who did the cinematography for it, and Taika Waititi and Stephen Merchant were on the Vanity Fair or Variety doing, you know, when the director breaks down the scene and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So he did that, and he was saying like the scenes wouldn't look the way they were without the cinematographer. I thought it looked quite Wes Anderson like. Especially like the framing of characters.
Yeah, there was parts where you'd have like Jojo in the middle of the screen, and then you'd have people running behind him.
Yeah,
and it was like almost like he was quite central.
Yeah,
yeah,
and like there's lots of mirroring. It's sort of like the visual language that you've learned from watching Wes Anderson, which isn't typically how Taika Waititi's stuff looks. Like Hunt for the Wilder People and What We Do in the Shadows don't look like that visually. So you could tell that was like the stamp of the cinematographer, but it worked in this setting. It helped sell like the absurdist nature, the satire of it almost.
Yeah. And then just before we get into spoilers as well, to talk about some of the other characters, you had the Sam Rockwell character alongside Rebel Wilson, and then you had the Alfie Allen, and you'll know Alfie Allen as
Theon
Greyjoy from Game of Thrones.
Or Lily Allen's younger brother.
Yes.
Who was a puppet in the music video that she made about him.
There you go.
Yeah.
Those three I really enjoyed. They played like senior Nazi characters.
Yeah.
You know.
They
really,
were
really
very much
tasteful.
caricatures as well.
Yeah.
And they weren't overdone either.
Yeah.
I felt like Alfie Allen and Rebel Wilson could have been really overdone. I wanted a little bit more of Sam Rockwell in it, but that's just because I'm a big fan of his. Like, he does great work. But then, like, when Alfie Allen and Rebel Wilson were in it, they were in it just enough, and they were funny when they were on screen. They were used well.
Yeah. So I think the first few minutes of this film, the first couple of scenes really set it up for what you're going to experience. There's going to be a couple of twists and turns along the way, but I think you get a really good sense of the comedy and the heartedness of the film. Overall, really liked it. I don't really see why it's getting the flack that it is.
Is it getting flack?
It's getting a little bit of flack, yeah.
I feel like a lot of films nowadays get flack, but people judge it without going to see it.
Yeah.
I don't think enough people have seen this film yet to give it flack. They just see like a World War II film. You can't satirize the Holocaust type thing.
Yeah, of course. And some people are going to feel uncomfortable about parts of this film because of what it covers and some of the slurs it makes. But it's all done in good heart. It's all done to
educate.
And
that's what I would say.
And comedize,
satire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's to satirize the views of the Nazis, really, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. Like we said earlier, it disarms it. Like,
yeah.
Not to like spoil the film too much, but the lead character learns like everybody else in the world's point of view almost towards the end. That's where the film takes him, is to sort of understand that he has been almost brainwashed, sort of, and learns that Jews are humans too. That's what the whole film was about, is anti-hate. Like it says on the poster, is an anti-hate satire. Like, you have to deconstruct something before you can understand stuff fully.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much what we can talk about spoiler-free.
Yeah.
So the spoilers section for this is going to be pretty short because obviously we want to talk about a little bit about the Golden Globes. This is your time now to switch off or skip ahead. Head to the description. Gives you a little bit of time now to just head away before we start talking about spoilers.
Yep.
So now,
3, 2, 1.
That, 3, 2, 1.
Spoilers.
There's your countdown. not really any massive spoilers to jump at. So now we can talk about the film a bit more freely.
There's only one that I think is a big spoiler.
Where his mum dies.
Yeah.
Gets killed by the Gestapo.
Yeah.
Where Stephen Merchant's playing. I really liked how they depicted the Gestapo in this film. That really like slender man-y.
It
was creepy.
I'm not going to say Stephen Merchant's a creepy looking guy, but like they had him stand on a box and everything. They made him be taller and more slender. It was to show this weird sort of like any other position he would be sort of like a feeble almost character.
Yeah.
But because he's got like this tiny little badge that gave him this position of power.
Yeah, it was almost like a very like kind of Wolfenstein villain kind of thing, wasn't it? Like an evil scientist kind of persona that he had. But he plays a really good character for the short amount of time he's in it. Yeah, it's really good.
The visual language of the reveal of Scarlett Johansson playing his mother dying was incredible. Like throughout the film, like there's always been a focus on shoes.
Yeah, I noticed that. There was two shots leading up to that where it was similar.
So in the bathhouse, in the swimming bath, like she's dancing alongside like Jojo, and like that's all you see of her is these beautiful white and red shoes dancing along. She's always got a spring in her step. She's always dancing. Yeah, and then later on when they're discussing, near the river, and you see the shoes alongside his head again as she's dancing, talking about like once the war's over, like we just need to dance. Like dance is an expression of joy and like love and everything.
That reveal.
Yeah, so he's following a butterfly, isn't he? Like he's been out collecting food and stuff like that. He's following a butterfly sort of willy-nilly, and we're set up earlier in the film that they've got these open gallows in the middle of town for people who've helped Jews, and then the reveal of he bumps into these feet and it's his mother's shoes.
It's so sad.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, definitely like
so well done though.
Yeah, it was definitely like a lump in your throat moment when he revealed that.
It's not gratuitous either. Like you don't get a shot of the face or anything like that. You get a wide shot of him hugging her, and then the rest of it's just a close up of, like, we can't express this enough, this unknown child actor absolutely selling the hell out of that scene. Like it doesn't really cut, and you see the realization, you see her heartbreak, and then just full tears. Like, and he tries to tie his mum's shoes because she's been teaching him all film how to tie his shoes and stuff. Like, this is how you've got to be presented. Like my granddad always said to me, like, you can tell a man by his shoes. Like, so,
yeah, and I really liked how when they led up to it, I think what made this hit a lot more is that you didn't have that explanation before it saying this is what his mum's actually doing. She's not going and it obviously something's going on. You see her burning little slips of paper, you see her placing them, but at no point does she tell Jojo.
She's like taking him off doors and putting him other places and stuff because they're the tags that the Gestapo used to, like, these are people that need to be investigated.
Yeah, and at no point is it like fully explained that this is what she's doing. And it's like you only really find out that that's what she's actually been doing when the Gestapo have killed her.
Yeah.
You know, it's so hard, and I think Scarlett Johansson plays a really ace role. She's been killing it. She was real. You've just seen Marriage Story, haven't you? She kills it in Marriage Story.
Fantastic.
And then the whole, the one bit that really like hit me with her as an actor in this film was the bit where she imitates his dad.
I was literally just about to say it. It was
so good, wasn't it? So good.
It's so sincere. Like, she is now like. She's probably realised that her husband's dead, probably in the war. She's now a single parent, trying to help anybody she can. She sees the wrong in the Nazi party, but she's still doing whatever she can at the risk of her own life. And the fact that her son is now a fanatic Hitler Youth member, she tries to make him understand, but he's so blinded by the propaganda. Like, they have a really, like, adult conversation across dinner, like talking about politics, which like so relevant for the time like we're living in as well. Like we still talk, we're like getting to the stage now where we talk to our parents about politics and stuff like that, no matter how frustrating it can be sometimes. Like, and this 10-year-old child is doing it across the dinner table, and he's able to hold his own in an argument. Like, obviously we all understand he's in the wrong, but this is the way that he's been programmed to think, and then like she's just trying to do her best to save him, to save her, and to save Elsa. We haven't spoke about Elsa enough either.
No, and I think but just before we get on to that, which is probably the last thing we can talk about with the film, is like some of the comedy hits and stuff are really good in this. So some of the bits that stood out, obviously where he grabs that grenade after saying "Be the rabbit," which is that really like on the nose reveal of the title of the film, and he grabs that grenade and he just goes, and then he ends up blowing his face to pieces.
So you get the slow mo run through the forest, Hitler dance, and Sam Rockwell's teaching these kids how to like properly throw a grenade, stuff like that, and Jojo just steals the grenade, lobs it, hits a tree, bounces back and blows the hell out of him.
And then you've got the throwaway line of walking the clones.
And then Rebel Wilson again with a great line, like she's just there like, oh, we need somebody to walk the clones. Cuts to like a load of like they look
Aryan
like
kids.
But I'm sure they're all played by the same actor.
Really interesting point. There's 2 actors in there, and both of them are the JoJo actor's brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're the brothers because in the credits they were Clone 1 and Clone Kid 1, Clone Kid 2, and they had the same surnames.
Okay.
Same names, so
that's interesting.
That's an interesting little
Rebel
fact.
Wilson had some really funny lines, like when she's talking, she's just there like, they're saying, oh, we're going to teach the boys how to use a knife, how to shoot a gun, how to throw grenades, survival tips, and the women, we're going to teach you how to be a mother and teach you how to clean and stuff like that. And like obviously that's something you're laughing at because it's satirizing it. It's not something that people believe in anymore. And then she's just there like, oh, I've spat out 18 children in the last couple of years for the Aryan race. Go me.
For Mother Germany and all this. It's so funny.
And then you've got like the
bit where she scoots over in the bathhouse, and it's just there's lots of really Taika hits of humor in this. Where if you've seen like What We Do in the Shadows and stuff like that, really hammers it, doesn't it?
The subtle gay relationship between Alfie Allen and Sam Rockwell's character
and
as well.
that's seriously
just hinted
subtle.
at every now and again.
That little moment where they like stare at each other for that little bit too long after he
faces
says something.
a little bit too close, and then like oh shit, we're in public. We'll get killed if people figure this out type thing.
Just before we move on to Golden Globe stuff, Elsa and Jojo in the film, their relationship built really nice. And I liked at the end how it wasn't a love relationship; it was like a brother and sister relationship. That was really nice. What did you think of Elsa?
I thought she was great. She is a European actress. Get her name.
Thomasin McKenzie.
Yeah, I didn't want to butcher her first name. Yeah, Thomasin McKenzie. She does great in it. The accent sounds fine to me. So she's from New Zealand. Sorry, she's not European, but her accent sounds just enough European that with the small bit of dialect coaching that she could get, because she's been speaking American in all the previous roles, she said that she had to train super quick how to do like a German Austrian accent. So it was just subtle enough. Like I feel like everybody's accent work was very subtle, but it was good enough.
Interestingly enough, she was one of the younger actors who had quite a bit of experience. I mean, she was in The Hobbit, and she was also in Netflix's The King as well.
I heard somebody else reference something else that she was in that I've seen.
But yeah, I really liked it. I liked how it was that. I think at the beginning when Jojo finds her hiding in the wall, and she's like just totally overpowers him, and then as the film progresses on, you start to find out that she's more vulnerable and not as. But obviously, that's Jojo. That's probably Jojo's perception of how she is.
The way she's introduced, like, uses the audience cinematic language of horror films, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the way like it's just like the hand creeping around the door.
Yeah, very Grudge.
Jump scary.
Yeah. Where she's like revealed and she's kind of got the hair. It's very much like the Grudge.
You see more of her openness and stuff as he does.
Yeah. I like that. Like the fingers, like how she's like walks with her hand down the banister before she appears and stuff. Yeah, and also she's really, really good in that bit where Stephen Merchant and the Gestapo find her.
And she pretends to be his dead sister.
Yeah, she pretends to be Inga, the dead sister, and that whole bit was so tense.
You can
really
feel.
tense.
You can,
This is what I mean. This film's got so many different bits. It's got like feel good moments. It's got funny moments. It's got heartbreaking moments in it. And then you've got those tense moments where she's like trying to get her date of birth right and how old she is in the picture and stuff.
You can see the pain in her when she's having to Heil Hitler or like Gestapo as well. That's a running joke in that scene, like how stupid it is that they all need to Heil Hitler each other. I think they break the record for like 40 odd times saying Heil Hitler in one scene.
Yeah. It's just so many times because every member of the Gestapo
the
says
Stephen
it.
Merchant bit was just like, oh, we're just Heil Hitler in the boy, then we're Heil Hitler in you.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this film. It was a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. I was expecting it to just be very much like a Taika Watiti film, or What We Do in the Shadows.
I was expecting it to be a lot more comedy.
Yeah, but I think it's such a charming film, isn't it? And just the final bit that we've probably got time to talk about with this for this episode is the whole action scenes at the end where the Allies invade the town.
Yeah.
And like so good. This is what I meant before, where the cinematography and stuff is also tasteful, that you don't see anyone like you don't see any
gratuitous violence.
Yeah, you don't see any
gore.
of like you see the kids being sent out, right, which is like a whoa, what's going on? But you don't see them getting
Rebel
shot.
Wilson straps a grenade to the back of a child
and tells her to go.
Yeah.
go give that guy a hug. And you get the other kid with the glasses.
Yeah.
Yorkie, and he's successful after the Hitler Youth Camp, and he goes on to be a very, very young soldier, which is very weird.
Yeah, they give him a gun.
Yeah, and then he drops that Panzerschreck rocket launcher, and it goes into the shop, and
like that line near the end is like, it's not a good time to be a Nazi.
No, that's it. And I love how quickly he's just like, oh, this is just really weird. I just don't know what to think, because he's like he's managed to survive that big attack.
Yeah.
But that bit's really good.
And then, like, again, like, so you've just seen him being sent out to war with a gun, and then the next scene you see him, he's just like, yeah, I'm going to go home now and get a cuddle from my mum. It's like, this kid's like 9 years old, 10 years old.
Kids, it's
he's a kid and he just got sent out to war, and then it's like, I just want a hug, man.
Yeah. The whole slow-mo bit where he walks out and everyone, they're attacking and you can just see like the horror in it.
Well, that leads to the bit with Sam Rockwell as well. Like, this character that you've seen as sort of like, he's just doing anything he can to sort of get by. Like he's a Nazi, but he's just looking for a fun, easy time type thing.
Yeah.
And you find out that he helped Elsa lie about a date of birth. She said the 1st instead of the 7th.
Yeah.
And then like he strips the jacket off Jojo because they put like a Nazi uniform jacket on him. So he gets captured by the US, and then he strips the jacket off him and like pretends to beat him. So that pretends he's a Jew to save his life, essentially.
Yeah.
Really like nice, sincere moment.
Yeah. This film, definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Out of 5?
Out of 5? Well, we normally do it out of 10.
Do we?
Yeah. Oh,
out of 10 then.
You know what? Out of 10, you know what? It's a 9 out of 10 again. Yeah. I'd say just go watch it.
Yeah.
I think for me, I really enjoyed it. I think I'm just going to ever give anything an 8 or a 9 out of 10 because hopefully I don't go watch a film that I don't like.
Yeah.
But definitely worth a watch, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay, next subject, Golden Globes.
Yeah, so now you're free of Jojo Rabbit spoilers.
Yes.
So we're going to go
Welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome back if you've skipped over. So we're going to talk a little bit about all the Golden Globes nominees and winners. We're going to basically just go through each of the categories, what we thought, whether we agree, I suppose. And just kind of fire through them before the end of the episode. So let's talk about first one I've got on the list is Best Motion Picture in Drama. Nominees was Joker, Marriage Story, The Two Popes, The Irishman, and 1917. And the winner was 1917.
Yeah,
it's a bit tough this because we've not seen it yet.
Not yet.
It's only really just come out a week before you've listened to this.
Yeah. So like as we're recording this.
Yeah.
Just come out.
I've not seen The Two Popes. There's a lot.
That's the only one other than 1917 I haven't seen.
Yeah, I mean, just before we start talking more and more into this, there's a lot of Netflix stuff nominated on here.
Yep.
Not a lot of it won, Which, to be fair, I can see why with awards. I think it's still a little bit tough, I think. It's a bit like how Star Wars doesn't win tons of Academy Awards, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like Marvel films
There is
don't.
still a level of almost snobbery, like they feel like, oh, it must be like art. But a lot of this Netflix stuff is what I would consider art and good filmmaking.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, in terms of best motion picture, for drama, Marriage Story is an amazing film. It's a really good film. Joker was a really good film. The Irishman, I didn't finish. It was just way too long.
I thought it was great. It was too long.
Yeah, it was far too long, the film.
We'll get onto it when it comes to a different thing, but I've got some opinions on best supporting actor when it comes to The Irishman.
And we can't really talk about 1917 because we've not seen it. No. So we're excited to see that.
Yeah.
But
it did surprise me that it actually won this one.
Yeah.
I was expecting Joker or Irishman.
Yeah, I as much as I would like to have seen Marriage Story win this.
Yeah.
I would have said The Irishman or Joker. But yeah, 1917 is probably well worth a win.
So best motion picture in a musical or comedy. So the nominations were... Oh, my thing scrolled down, bear with me. Dolomite Is My Name, Jojo Rabbit, Knives Out, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Rocketman. The winner was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Have you seen this film?
I've not seen it yet. I'm struggling to figure how it's a comedy or a musical.
Yeah, I don't think it's either. It's a Tarantino film, so you've got if you've seen something like Django Unchained, there's obviously bits of comedy in there, but this film's not packed with it.
No,
and
it's also more of a drama.
Yeah, and it's not packed with musical bits. It's packed with music.
A musical like implies that people singing and dancing in the streets almost like.
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot of that in Knives Out either. It was more for a comedy.
Well, that was a comedy that had a lot more comedic elements, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, from trying to recollect from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I don't think it should have won this.
No, and I think from what I've seen, it's not even Tarantino's best film.
No.
I feel like it won this category because it is a Tarantino film.
Yeah. I think maybe I would have seen Rocketman maybe because of Taron Egerton's portrayal of Elton John.
Yeah.
Well, from what I've seen is really
the only
good.
one that I've not seen all of. I've not seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I've not seen all of Dolomite Is My Name. I've seen a bit of it.
I've seen half of it, and that's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good.
I think that's a return to form for Eddie Murphy.
But maybe not award-winning.
No.
So
I would have said out of all these, I would have personally gave it to Jojo Rabbit.
I would have gave it to Jojo Rabbit, and that's not being biased that we've only just seen it, but it's got a bit of everything, and I think the comedy's really, really good in this. So.
And I feel like, from what I know, like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's been spoiled for me. Like, I know what happens in it and stuff like that. I don't think it's in the right category. I think it's been shoved in this category for an easy win almost. So they could give it to 1917 and a Tarantino film.
Yeah.
I also think it's gratuitous in its use of the Manson family. It feels like it, from what I've heard, it doesn't seem to serve the story until right at the end almost.
No,
you could say more about that.
Yeah, and we won't spoil the film because that's a big spoiler of part of the film. But it's not what you expect. Let's put it that way. The next one is Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture. This is Cynthia Erivo in Harriet, Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story, Saoirse Ronan in Little Women, Charlize Theron in Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger in Judy. Judy won this.
Renee Zellweger.
She won it. I've not seen this film.
I've seen the clip that was on the Graham Norton show.
Yeah.
Because I don't think this got a wide cinema release in the UK.
No, I don't
think it might not even be out yet in the UK.
No, and I've also not seen Harriet.
No.
Neither that as Bombshell hasn't come out here yet, has it?
Little Women released over the Christmas break for us as well.
Yeah. So
Saoirse Ronan, she is a great actress, and she looks like she's carrying that film from the trailer. Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That long take of her in the lawyer's thing as she's telling the story of her marriage was incredible.
You totally forget she's an actor in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you lose her and Adam Driver into that film.
Yeah, definitely. I wish, it would have been nice to see Johansson win that.
I can't really speak on that too much.
No.
Renee Zellweger, she did seem good as the part of Judy Garland in that film.
Yeah.
Best performance by an actor in a motion picture drama. So we had Christian Bale in Ford versus Ferrari, or Le Mans 66, as it was called in the UK. You've got Antonio Banderas in Pain and Glory, Adam Driver in Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix as Joker, and Jonathan Pryor as the Two Popes. In the Two Popes.
I'm happy with this. I think Joaquin
Phoenix won.
Yeah, I think he needed to.
I was almost surprised by this because I felt like they might have tried to not give awards to this film.
Maybe. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because the connotations of the Joker, but I think because they changed the Joker mythos so much, they are more willing to give it awards.
Yeah, and I think just the transformation he goes through in the film for the role.
His performance was the only reason the film worked the way it did.
Yeah, he was totally the Joker in that film. Just the whole, his whole persona, everything about him. It was just, you wasn't watching.
I don't think there's
actor.
a single scene without him in. So he literally carries every scene of the film.
Yeah, so well deserved, really.
Yeah.
Next one is Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. Emma Thompson, Late Night. Ana de Armas, Knives Out. I butcher these names. Can you help me with this one?
Aquafina.
The Farewell.
I think it's a pseudonym. It's not a birth name, I don't think.
Yep. Kate Blanchett, Where'd You Go, Bernadette, and Beanie Feldstein in Booksmart. I've not seen half of these films.
No.
The only film I've seen in this list is Knives Out.
Yeah.
So I can't really comment on it.
So The Farewell and Where'd You Go, Bernadette, I don't think have got releases in the UK yet, or if at all. Booksmart has got really good reviews. I've been hearing stuff about it all year. There's nowhere to watch it yet in the UK, I think. I think it's coming to Amazon Prime soon, but you need to pay to view it. Ana de Armas in Knives Out, I thought she was great in it. I'm a big fan of her work after Blade Runner as well.
Yeah.
So they can't really speak on this. But apparently The Farewell is very good as well. So, fair enough.
Fair enough.
I love the way most of this stuff is. I was like, we haven't really seen it, but,
yeah.
you know. So, Best Performance by an Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, Daniel Craig for Knives Out. Roman Griffin Davis for Jojo Rabbit. That's the young lad. Amazing job to be nominated.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Taron Egerton for Rocket Man. And Eddie Murphy for Dolomite Is My Name.
So I don't think Eddie Murphy should have won this. Anyway, He didn't win it. Taron Egerton won this award for his portrayal of Elton John. I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is ace.
Yeah.
He's very much fully into the role. I think Roman Griffin Davis, Jojo and Jojo Rabbit, I think being nominated is an award enough for his first professional job.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Big congratulations to him.
Yeah, I think maybe for how much different this is for Daniel Craig in Knives Out, I think how much different his role is that he could have been up for this.
I don't think it's award winning.
No.
Like, he is great in it, and it is such a break from character from what we normally see him as. Don't think it was worth the award. Like, from what I've seen of Roman, Taron Egerton, and Eddie Murphy, I would say Daniel Craig was better than Eddie Murphy, but Taron Egerton, for me, should have won this category.
Yeah, fair enough. So the next one is Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role in Any Motion Picture.
Say that when you're drunk.
Margot Robbie in Bombshell, Kathy Bates, Richard Jewell, Annette Bening, The Report, Laura Dern, Marriage Story, Jennifer Lopez, Hustlers, and the winner was Laura Dern in Marriage Story. Well deserved. I don't think there's anything more. We've not seen Bombshell yet because it's not out in the UK.
My question is, Jennifer Lopez was being pitched as the lead role in Hustlers. How is she up for a supporting role?
This isn't.
I think
it's a supporting role in.
I think that's fudging. Similar to how Christian Bale won Best Supporting Actor in The Fighter, even though he was the lead role. But because it wasn't the title role, they put him forward for supporting actor.
Do you reckon it's to give it a nomination?
I think it was to get her a nomination.
Yeah, I think Laura Dern was ace in Marriage Story.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see it's won something as well.
Margot Robbie looks like she's going to be really good in that film, but like we said, it's not out here in the UK yet, so I can't really speak on it.
Okay, next one.
Best Performance for an Actor in a Supporting Role in Any Motion Picture is Tom Hanks in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Anthony Hopkins in The Two Popes, Al Pacino in The Irishman, Joe Pesci in The Irishman, and Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And the winner was?
The winner was Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
So why is there two Irishman nominations in here?
I think they were both great in it. Out of all of them, I would have gave it to Joe Pesci. I think that is one of Joe Pesci's best roles. It broke my heart seeing him at the end as an old man in prison. Like, he's got onset Parkinson's coming in and stuff like that. Like, throughout the film, he plays himself throughout multiple different age groups. And, like, he sells it all the time, like, whenever he's in it. And, like, his transformation throughout the different ages as well. Like, I would say he was best. Like, Al Pacino was fantastic in that as well, but I don't feel like his role was as diverse as Joe Pesci. I would have gave it to Joe Pesci for that.
Would you have gave it to? Yeah, you would have said he would have won it.
Yeah.
Rather. I think once you watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you realize how good Brad Pitt is in that film, and how much he carries the film in as a supporting role, especially to how DiCaprio was in that film. Look, I just didn't love The Irishman. For me, I just really struggled through the film. I got to a point where I was like, I don't know who these characters are now. I don't know what's going on in the story. I just had to switch it off.
I've seen it twice now, so I feel like I do understand it a lot more.
You have dedicated 6 hours to that film. My God, man. I personally, biased, but I think Brad Pitt, I think totally.
Fair enough, yeah. I think my point of view is The Irishman isn't the best film of all time, but I think the performances in it were great.
Next one was Best Director for Motion Picture. Bong Joon-ho, Parasite, Sam Mendes, 1917, who won this category.
Yep.
Todd Phillips, The Joker, Martin Scorsese, The Irishman, Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Well deserved, I think. Sam Mendes, the film is a one-shot film, much to the like of Birdman. I think Todd Phillips did a great job on The Joker, but I think obviously that was more led by Joaquin Phoenix. I think he carried that film, not the direction of it.
I feel like the two of them together was what got us that performance in that film.
Yes.
But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix deserves it more, I think, than Todd Phillips.
Tarantino doesn't need another award. In general, it's Tarantino. Yeah, I've heard Parasite's really good.
I would like to say Bong Joon-ho being nominated for Best Director with a non-English film is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, because you just don't see it very often.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you saw it with Roma, was it that last year? But yeah.
Yeah.
And then Best Screenplay for a Motion Picture, Noah Baumbach for Marriage Story, Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-won for Parasite, Anthony McCartan for The Two Popes, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, who won, and Stephen Zalian for The Irishman. Zalian, yeah.
You know what? I think Marriage Story should have got that.
I think for the screenplay, yeah.
Yeah, for screenplay,
the writing was phenomenal in it.
Yeah, I get why Once Upon a Time in Hollywood won it. If you've seen the film, you can be like, nah, yeah, I get it. It was it's a tough contender for any film, but I think this should have been given to Marriage Story.
Yeah.
Next one was Best Motion Picture in Animation, Missing Link, which won, Toy Story 4, Frozen 2, How to Train Your Dragon Hidden World, and The Lion King.
This surprised me because this film, I think, flopped.
What do you think should have won? I've not seen How to Train Your Dragon.
I haven't seen
Frozen
any
2.
of these.
You've not seen Toy Story 4?
I didn't get to see Toy Story 4.
You've not seen The Lion King?
No, because
I'll tell you
I love the original of The Lion King too much, so I just...
Forget the animals don't smile and look like they have no emotion. Just for how it looks, The Lion King probably should have got it. But
would you not just hold off for the Oscar for Best Visual Effects?
Yeah, okay, yeah. If this was a Golden Globe for Best Visual Effects, yeah, it would have got it.
I think Toy Story films are always amazing, so I understand the level of quality behind that. How to Train Your Dragon is a personal favourite for me, the franchise. I did hear good things about Missing Link, I just didn't feel like the film performed very well, so I was surprised. Best Motion Picture in a Foreign Language, The Farewell. Les Miserables, I think you pronounce it. I did theatre, everybody said it different ways. Les Mis, Pain and Glory, Parasite, and Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
I've not seen any of these because they're a film in a foreign language. So, we could probably
I do like foreign language films, but they don't get to us until much later, and you do need to dedicate a whole day to it.
And subtitles.
Yes.
Parasite won it.
Parasite won. Apparently everybody's saying that's the best decision. Fair play. I've heard very good things about Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and Les Mis looked interesting. I don't think it had anything really to do with Les Mis as we know it.
There's a lot of categories for these Golden Globes, so we're going to
Yes.
try and smash through the rest of
Because
them.
we haven't seen most of the stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Because it's all TV stuff that only got played in America. So let's go.
So, best television series for drama: Killing Eve, The Morning Show, Succession, Big Little Lies, The Crown. Succession took this. The Morning Show got nominated for quite a lot, really. And that's the Apple TV.
Yeah, and it's a very new show. That's the one with Reese Witherspoon and
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell and
Jennifer
Aniston.
Yeah. I've not seen it. I've got an Apple TV subscription.
Yeah.
Because I've got an iPhone. But yeah, I've not had a chance to see this. The Crown, the parts of The Crown are really good, but I think...
I haven't seen the new cast, so I haven't seen season 3 of The Crown yet, so I can't say.
Yeah, there's
It is
visual
fantastic,
parts,
so.
and yeah, it looks really good.
Killing
But obviously-
Eve is amazing.
Yeah, but Succession I've not seen.
No.
And Big Little Lies I've not seen, so...
I've seen the first episode of Big Little Lies. Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Best television series for a comedy or musical: Barry, Fleabag, The Kominsky Method, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and The Politician. Fleabag won. I think that's well deserved. I've only seen season 1, but it's very funny, very good. The Kominsky Method I saw on Netflix. That was pretty damn good. Don't think it was award winning. I haven't seen the others.
No comment. I've seen nothing in this category.
Okay, best television limited series or motion picture made for television.
Catch-22, Chernobyl that won it. Fosse Verdon?
Yep,
Fosse
sounds about
Verdon?
right.
The Loudest Voice, unbelievable. Chernobyl, yeah, totally should have won this. It
No
was
complaint.
ace. Yeah, every episode, really good. Amazing retelling of the story. Yeah, brilliant. Best performance by an actress in a limited series or motion picture made for television. Try saying that one while you're drunk.
I'm going to struggle with the names enough. Caitlin Denver for Unbelievable, Joey King for The Act, Helen Mirren for Catherine the Great, Merritt Weaver for Unbelievable, and Michelle Williams for Foss Verdon.
That won it.
Yes,
But I've not
Michelle
seen any
Williams
of
won.
these.
Michelle Williams is a fantastic actress. Helen Mirren's great, but I haven't seen Catherine the Great yet. Joey King, I'm glad to see nominated because she's a great up-and-coming actress. So, yeah.
Yeah.
No comment. Best performance by an actor in a limited series or motion picture made for television.
Sacha Baron Cohen in The Spy, Russell Crowe in The Loudest Voice, Jared Harris in Chernobyl, Sam Rockwell, Fosse Verdon, and Christopher Abbott, Catch-22.
I mean, they are all big names. They are all great actors.
Sacha Baron Cohen in this film was a really...
TV show.
TV show was really different for him, though. I've not seen it, but, you know, it was very different versus, like...
It wasn't a bold comedy.
Ali G and
Yeah.
The Dictator and whatever. But Jared Harris in Chernobyl was also really good. Unfortunately, not seen any of the others. So, best performance by an actress in a television series for drama: Olivia Colman, The Crown, Jodie Comer, Killing Eve, Nicole Kidman in Big Little Lies, Reese Witherspoon in The Morning Show, and also Jennifer Aniston in The Morning Show. The Crown took this one.
Don't see any problem with that. Jodie Comer, I would have liked to see her win it, but I believe she won it last year, didn't she?
Yeah.
For season 1. So maybe they didn't want to give it to her again. Olivia Colman, fantastic. Best performance by an actor in a television series drama: Kit Harington for Game of Thrones.
Whoa. They got something after season 8.
Yeah, they only got one nomination. Wait for the Emmys. That's when you find out about the TV shows. Okay, so Kit Harington for Game of Thrones, Rami Malek for Mr. Robot, Tobias Menzies for The Crown, Billy Porter for Pose, and Brian Cox for Succession. Brian Cox won.
Yeah, I think this was really well.
I've heard really good
well
things about
deserved.
Pose. I've seen the first episode. I thought it was great. I'm not sure who Billy Porter played in it.
Yeah.
Kit Harington,
better
surprised he
luck
even got
next
anything.
Better look in the Eternals kit.
Yep. Black Knight and the Eternals, possibly. Best performance by an actress in a television series, comedy or musical: Christina Applegate, Dead to Me. I thought she was pretty good in that. Rachel Brosnahan for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's a tongue twister as well. Kristen Dunst for On Becoming a God in Central Florida. Never heard of that. Natasha Lowen for Russian Doll, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge for Fleabag. Phoebe won.
Yeah, Russian Doll was this whole kind of...
That's the Netflix Groundhog Day.
That's the Groundhog Day thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge won for Fleabag. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with that. I think she was great. Her award speech was very funny as well.
Yeah.
You want to take the next one?
Yeah, best performance by an actor in a television series, musical, or comedy. To be honest with you, a lot of these now, we've covered off what we thought about a lot of the nominees. So I guess we just blitz through them.
Yeah.
So that was Okay, yeah. Bill Hader, Barry, Ben Platt, the politician, Paul Rudd, Living with Yourself, Rami Youssef from Rami, Michael Douglas in the Kaminsky Method. Paul Rudd, Living with Yourself. That was really good.
I haven't seen all of it yet.
Have you not? You should definitely watch the rest of it.
Bill Hader in Barry is really good as well.
Yeah, but Rami Youssef took it away with Rami. Best performance by an actress in a supporting role in a series, limited series, or motion picture made for television.
That one when you're drunk. Toni Collette for Unbelievable, Meryl Streep for Big Little Lies, Emily Watson for Chernobyl, Patricia Arquette for The Act, or Helena Bonham Carter for The Crown. Patricia Arquette won for The Act.
Let me just take a shot of vodka for this next one. Best performance by an actor in a supporting role in a series, limited series, motion picture made for television. Alan Arkin, The Kaminsky Method, Kieran Culkin, Succession, Andrew Scott, Fleabag, Stellan Skarsgård in Chernobyl, and Harry Winkler, Barry. Chernobyl took it away.
Yep. Stellan Skarsgård, fantastic.
Right, last two.
Best original score, this is something we can talk about a bit more, for a motion picture, was Hilda Gunnardo. You said this earlier.
Hilda Gunnardotte.
Yep, we'll go with that for the Joker. She won it. Very good. That score was fantastic. Helped carry the film throughout. Also nominated was Randy Newman for Marriage Story. I thought that was great as well. I was really surprised when I saw the credits at the end. It was Randy Newman.
Yeah.
Toy Story fame. Thomas Newman for 1917. Daniel Pemberton for Motherless Brooklyn, which I'm excited to watch when that gets a UK release, I believe. And Alexandra Desplat for Little Women.
Can you hum any of the scores of these films?
No.
Moving on.
I just remember the Joker was really good. Can't hum it.
It was really good. It reinforced the film. And our very last one.
This category, drunk.
Well, the category
There's a lot of words coming up.
Best original song motion picture.
Now name all the songs.
Right, Beautiful Ghosts from Cats.
Yeah.
How the hell Cats got anything, even if it is best original song? Who knows?
I think they were running low on nominees.
Yeah. I'm Gonna Love Me Again, Rocket Man, Into the Unknown, Frozen 2, Spirit, The Lion King, Stand Up, Harriet. Yeah, all right, Rocket Man won it.
Yeah, Gonna Love You Again. It's a new Elton John song for an Elton John film.
And you're going to be so glad that we're done.
That was like a marathon, that was.
Yeah, my thumb hurts from scrolling down past all those categories.
Too many categories.
Too many categories.
Maybe too many categories.
We're not going to do this again for the Academy Awards.
We'll do this for the Oscars, but there's a lot less awards and we can skip some out.
Yes.
Actually, no, we won't skip some out, but we won't hang on. Like, we'll know more stuff from the Academy Awards because there's less television. That's what we missed out on a lot, is television in the UK. Yeah,
for sure. And also some of the films being released later over here as well.
So let us know what you thought about our critiques of stuff that we haven't seen. And thank you very much for listening. Let us know what you thought should have won.
Let us know your thoughts on Jojo Rabbit.
Yep, definitely that as well. We're intrigued to find out what other people thought. I've only really heard what we thought about it, so
yeah.
More insight is more good. Get in contact with us at GetRealPod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Email us at getrealpoduk@gmail.com. And yeah, that is everywhere to find us. Do you want to tell them where you can listen to the podcast?
Yeah, you can check the podcast out on Buzzsprout, which is where we host our podcast, as well as now everything should be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher soon. And we're also should be available on Google Podcasts at some point.
And iHeartRadio.
Tune in for Alexa, so you can listen to us on your home speakers.
Yes.
As well as a couple of other podcast apps as well. So just check us out. Just look for us on there at Get Real Pod, the Get Real podcast. That's it. Make sure you leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
So helpful, thank you.
It really helps us get ourselves out there. Obviously, this is only episode 4, so any support is amazing. Share us with friends. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Share us wherever you can.
Thank you for the support so far. It is going well. And we hope to see you next time. Or hope you hear us next time.
Yeah, look forward to having you listen to us next time. What an awkward way to end it.
I hope you like us talking. Goodbye.